All right, what's up, guys? I'm going to just walk you through what you would do if you're starting up a new customer. So you're going to click into the customer, you'll check in. I've already done that. And then there's a couple of things that you're going to need to do. The big three are: one, check if they've got a credit card on file. If not, you have to get it. Two, check if they have an agreement on file. And if not, you have to get it. And finally, three, you're going to have them just sign a really quick form. So let's go over the basics here. You should probably be familiar by now with how Pest Routes works in general. It's going to be really similar to a standard route in that you're going to go ahead and be looking at notes first of all, right? You're going to be like, okay, anything special I should know? Appointment notes. Looks like, okay, the sales rep put in that this is the first appointment. Permanent customer notes right here. They don't have any pets. Okay, that's good to know. Let's go ahead and check for a credit card. Where do I do that? Easiest way is going to be right here on billing action, auto pay, CC on file. Cool. So that means we've got it. What would happen if we didn't have that credit card on file? Super easy. You're just going to go over to invoice, payment, scroll down, update credit card. Okay. So that's how it's going to go. Make sure that auto payment is set to credit card, not ACH or off. You're going to press on update CC, and then you put in that credit card. You're just going to ask the customer, at whatever point feels natural, and we'll go over this, in role plays and stuff with you. But you're just going to ask the customer, do you want to do Visa or MasterCard? We'd prefer those two cards if they can. If not, we can go ahead and use something else. But that's a great question just to ask, like, hey, and how do you want to pay today? Is it going to be Visa or MasterCard? Don't really accept checks too much or cash. So really try and get that card if at all possible. It just makes it easier for everybody. So that's the credit card. What about the agreement? Okay, super simple again. We're going to go over here. It looks like they've got a triannual window agreement. We're like, sweet, this is great. You're going to scroll in, though, if this is the first route, and take note of a couple things. One, make sure nothing looks too funky on here. But the biggest thing is, what's the initial discount? Looks like the initial discount was $110. Okay. So I'm going to go back out. And then in the course of my conversation with the customer on my first time talking with him, right, I built rapport. I'm like, cool, this is what the service is going to do. We're going to hit all the calcium. We're going to brush down the screens for you. We're also going to be dusting out the tracks, whatever else they have in like the appointment notes, or, you can even check the invoice tab is sometimes good just to double check and be like, okay, nothing funny on here. The sales rep didn't get confused and put like a gutter on here instead of a separate appointment, stuff like that. Click back in here. So assuming that they've got the triennial agreement, you're good to go. What happens if they don't have it though? Look, you're going to be really confident in how to do this. We're going to make sure that you're feeling good about this because this is super easy. You're going to just be like, okay, looks like they signed up for a triennial Windows subscription. You can see it here. All the details are already in the system. You're just going to have to go over to Docs, add a new item, contract, and it's going to auto-generate it for you. So it already knows what's supposed to be going on. They've already seen this. More than likely, the sales rep had this all pulled up, and they were like, yeah, send it to me as a quote, talk it over with my wife, but plan on coming. So that's going to be the kind of situation you're usually running into, is they're probably already familiar with this document, probably 8 times out of 10. If not, give it a little bit more explanation, but usually they're going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Thanks for coming. In which case, you're just going to run through a couple of quick things. You're going to say, double check your information for me. So you're going to start right here up at the top of service address, customer info. And then you'll run through and be like, cool, so this is the agreement. We're going to come out for you 3 times during the year, spring, summer, and fall. We'll skip the winter pretty much. The agreement just says you got to stick with me for 10 years. And that's a good joke you can make, right? So really, it's just going to be 12 months. But that's kind of fun to joke about. It's like, yeah, we're just going to be with you for 10 years. They'll be like, oh, wow, that's a long time. And then you'll be, no, I'm just messing. We're just going to be doing you for 12 months. All that we'd ask is that you'd stick with us during that time. The second paragraph just explains that if, for whatever reason, you don't want those next 2 services, the last one or something, we don't make you pay that back. It's just our initial discount back, $110. And then finally, this last paragraph is going to be talking to you about how we warranty results. I'm going to try my best today to, not leave any streaks or any spots. But if you do notice anything that I missed, go ahead and give me a call back, and I'm right back for free for you. So that's how that'll go. All this down here, you can just skip over. It's just the legalese stuff you click on every time that you open up a website pretty much. Just really legalese, contract stuff. And at any point in time, if the customer wants to, read through the whole agreement, that's great. That's totally within their prerogative. We're not hiding anything in here. Just hand it over to them and let them read through. But most of the time, they're already familiar with this, and hopefully you built some trust. And you can just scroll down at this point and have them actually sign it. I'm not going to do it right now. And then you'll press save, and it'll be sent to them. So again, almost every time the agreement should be there, but we're not going to serve as somebody who doesn't have an agreement, who's on like a triennial subscription, because we're giving them a big discount on that first one. And when you account for the amount of time it takes the technician plus the commission we're paying out in marketing or to a sales rep, stuff like that, we're losing money on that first service. So we need to make it back. It's not a good business model otherwise if they decide to cancel. So we just ask for the discount back. That's it. Make sure that they understand that. Again, 9 times out of 10, probably 95 times out of 100, that's already going to be there. And so what you're going to do, assuming that they have a credit card now and they have the agreement, is this. You're just going to go over to the add new document, and this is going to be for all startup customers. Only startup customers, not people who've already been serviced. But for startup customers, you're going to come over here, go to acknowledgement, and they're just going to re-sign this. It's probably been 2 or 3 days since they've seen the contract. We're just going to make sure that they're understanding again that we're both on the same page of what's going down here. So you're welcome to just like turn the phone over to them and say, hey, just read through this, make sure it looks okay. Or actually, don't do that. Hand the phone over to them if you want, but make sure that you're explaining it. Probably hold the phone is the best thing. Hold the phone while facing them. So you're going to be actually showing them with the phone in your hand these 3 points. So you maintain a little bit of control and you can move it along and not hit any unnecessary hiccups. This is something easy. This is something we didn't do last year, and we were fine 98% of the time. This process is simply to catch 2% of customers who might have been confused, whether the sales rep didn't explain it very well, or the sales rep explained it fine, and they just didn't capture what was going on. This is just to make sure we're on the same page. So here's how you're going to go over this. You've already read the 3 points probably by now. The first one says we're going to come and service your home for 12 months. The second is the discount. You have to pay it back if you don't take us on 3 services. And the third is, and when I say 3 services, if it was a biannual, it'd be 2, right? But the third is that the customer acknowledges that we're going to continue to service them past the 12 months that unless they tell us to stop. And so here's how you present that. You're going to be like, hey, just going to go over a couple things with you that the sales rep talked about. Just make sure we're on the same page. You're going to use a tonality of like obviousness here. You don't need to make this sound big because it's not. They've already gone over it. Just really obvious. Hey, we're going to go over a couple things. The first is that we're going to stick with you hopefully at least for 12 months on a triennial plan. So that's 3 times a year. The second point just says, hey, if for whatever reason you want to stop or discontinue, and don't use the word cancel, just say stop or discontinue. We don't make you pay back. We don't make you pay for services that we're not going to do. It's just that we're going to ask for our initial discount back. In your case, and this is where you have to remember how much it was. In your case, that'd be the $110 if you decide to stop before the end of those 12 months. And then the third is we'd love to continue to service you, and we'll plan on servicing you past the 12 months unless you tell us to stop. So there's no obligation past the 12 months, but would love to keep your business. And that's really important phrasing, right? It's like, hey, we're going to plan to come and service you. We'd love to service you unless you tell us not to. Unless you tell us not to. Where was I going with this? I can't remember, but that's the gist of it. At the end of it, you're going to have them go ahead and sign below. Right here, they'll put it in, and you're going to press save. Don't press send, press save. Discard that for now. That's the basics of it. Other couple of things to note with startup routes is it's pretty good to just check, hey, do they have multiple subscriptions going on? Like, do they have a gutter? It looks like this one does. This one actually has a gutter. And so it's probably a good thing to check, like, ooh, has the gutter been done yet? It would be sad if you, like, for whatever reason, didn't notice that you had window washing and then gutter cleaning. It's like, well, you should have started with the gutter cleaning, obviously. If the gutter is scheduled for like a week out, that's probably fine. Don't bring it up. It's not a problem. We'll be really careful. We'll touch up windows if we need to. But if possible, make sure that you're in the right order. other good thing, especially on a first one, is going to be check the service invoice. Are we replacing extra screens for them? Stuff like that. Hopefully the sales rep or the office has put this in the notes. Sometimes they forget and it's just in the invoice. And then the last thing is obviously double check the notes. A lot of times on these appointment notes, you're going to see things like screen washing included on first appointment. And so you'll know you have to do the screen washing. Or maybe it's like, hey, interior windows included. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. That's probably in the invoice as well, but it's just a double check there to make sure that this first service is going to wow them. That's our goal. Set really clear expectations and then go the extra mile. Like really, really do a great job so that they're going to want to stick with us for not just the rest of the 12 months, but you set the precedent here of how we're always going to be servicing their home. They're going to pay way more attention this first time than they ever will down the road. So do a great job and